Good morning everyone. Myself in Sandhya Rani, lecturer in commerce, TTWRDC, Medak. Today we are going to discuss about income tax. Before we are going to income tax, why we are paying tax to the government? Why? Because the government has to provide many services to the people. So that's why the person or the people has to pay tax to the government. So come to our topic. What is income tax first? And then in our presentation, points of presentation. So introduction of income tax and a brief history of income tax, heads of income tax, important terms, income tax rates, exemptions and deductions, and then next some useful tips regarding income tax and conclusion. So first, introduction. So what is tax and why it is required? Okay, tax is a part of an individual's earning which is required to be paid to the government. Tax is a part of an individual's earning. So the person, how much he has to earn, based on that income he has to pay some amount to the government. So that amount is called as a tax. Okay, tax is an part of an individual's earning which is required to be paid to the government in order to the generate revenue. So it is a mandatory liability for every citizen. It is a mandatory liability for every citizen of the country. There are two types of taxes in India, that is direct taxes and indirect taxes. In India there are two types of taxes are there. One is direct taxes and second one is indirect taxes. So what is direct taxes means? The person has to pay tax to the government directly. The tax is called as direct taxes. So what are the examples of this direct tax means? Income tax. Income tax is a direct tax. The person, he has to pay directly tax to the government, so it is a direct tax. Then second one is a indirect tax. So what is indirect tax means? The person has to pay tax to the government indirectly. Means he has to pay tax to the government but he has to pay indirectly. So that is called as indirect tax. Means the tax is included in the price of the goods. That is called as a indirect tax. So for example, indirect tax is GST. GST means goods and service tax. Okay, then next, why taxes is required? Why taxes is required? Why we are paying taxes to the government? Means, so income tax is the main source of income for the government. It generates the revenue to the government. The income tax has to be generate the revenue to the government. So the tax money is used in initiating various welfare and other activities. So this income tax, while collecting tax, so this tax money is used in initiating various welfare and other activities. So what are the other activities means? Let's we see. Providing health care and facilities. Providing health care and facilities. Then providing education through government schools and where fee is negotiable. Then third one is subsidy on cooking gas, fertilizers and other essential commodities. Providing education through government schools of fee, where fee is negotiable, and then next subsidy on cooking gas, fertilizers and other essential commodities. Then next salary and pension. The next one is salary and pension to lakhs of government employees. Then next, national security and infrastructure development. National security and infrastructural development. So these are the revenues for government. While these are the facilities provided by the government. Then next, what is the history of income tax? A brief history of income tax. So what is the history of income tax means? An origin of taxation in India dates back to ancient in India as found mentioned in ancient books such as Ardhashastra and Manusmriti. So where it is mentioned, Ardhashastra and Manusmriti. So according to the Manusmriti, Ardhashastras used to pay 1/5 of their profits as tax. whereas agriculturists were required to pay 1/6, 1/8 or 1/10 of their 1/10 of their produce depending upon the circumstances. So then next, in modern India, tax was introduced for the first time in 1860. In modern India, tax was first introduced in 1860 by Sir James Wilson in order to meet the losses sustained on account of military mutiny of 1857. So this was the first income tax of the modern India. Substantially other income tax acts was passed during 1886, 1918 and 1922. Income Tax Act 1922 was the last income tax of British India and remained in force till 1962. So then next, in independent India, the Income Tax Act 1922 was replaced with Income Tax Act 1961. So the Act 1922 was replaced with 1961. Income Tax Act 1961 was implemented 1st April 1962 and income tax is still in this act is still in force. Okay, then come to next topic. Since 1962, several amendments of far reaching nature have been made in Income Tax Act by Union Budget every year. So here next, what are the heads of incomes? How many heads of incomes are there? Here there are 5 heads of incomes are there. Under that, first one is income from salary, then income from house property, then next one income from business or profession, then next one income from capital gain, then next last one is income from other sources. So how many heads of incomes are there? There are 5 heads of incomes are there. First one income from salary, income from house property, income from business or profession, next income from capital gains, then next income from other sources. Then here some of the important terms are there. Okay, so what are the important terms means? First one is assessee, then assessment year and previous year. Okay, then third one residential status, then fourth one gross total income, then fifth one deductions, then sixth one total income. So the total income tax subject is depend upon these terms only, these important terms only. So what are the important terms means? First one is assessee, assessment year and previous year, then next residential status, then next gross total income, next deductions and total income. Then come to important terms, explanation of important terms. First one is assessee. Who is assessee? So assessee means a person whom any tax or any other sum of money is payable under this act. This act means Income Tax Act. A person who has to pay tax to the government, that person is called as an assessee, whether he is an individual person or an HUF or an company or an partnership firm, whether they have to pay tax to the government. So that persons are called as what are that, Nana? Assessee. Assessee means a person by whom any tax or any other sum of money is payable under this act. Under this act means Income Tax Act. So in simple term, the assessee means a taxpayer. Taxpayer means who has to, the person who has paid tax to the government, that person is called as an assessee. Okay, let's come to next topic. What is that? Assessment year and previous year. So first, what is assessment year? So assessment year means the period starting from April 1st to 31st March. So the period has to be starting from 1st April to, and it should be end with 31st March. So this 12 months period is called as an assessment year. Okay, so and next year and previous year means, what is previous year? So previous year means the financial year immediately before the assessment year. Okay, the financial year immediately before the assessment year. So for example, this is 2021 year. So this is the assessment year for 2020 and 21. Then before the year, what is the previous year means? 2019 to 20 is the previous year. I hope you understood, all of you, once again. So assessment year means at present year 2000 at what is the present year? 2020-21 is the present year. This is the assessment year. Immediately before year means 2019 to 20 is the previous year. So for 2019 to 20, what is the previous year? So for example, for the assessment year is a 2019 to 20 and previous year is a 2018 to 19. Means the assessment years before year is called as a previous year. Okay, then let's come to next topic. What is a residential status? Residential status. So here residential status means there are three types of residential statuses of the assessees as per Income Tax Act 1961. So how many the types of residential statuses are there? There are three types of residential statuses of assessees as per the Income Tax Act 1961. So first one is a resident, and then second one is a non-resident, NRI. Then third one is a resident but not residing in India. Resident but not residing in India. So come to resident. So resident means a citizen of India who resided in India. So resident means the person he is belonging to India and resided in India for a period of 182 days. How many days? For 182 days or more than during the previous year. So in previous slide we have to discuss about previous year. So for example, in previous year 2019 to 20, the person has stayed in India. The person has stayed in India and he belongs to in India for 182 days and or more in during previous year, and his income earned anywhere in the world. Okay, so once again I repeated beta. So his income earned anywhere in the world will be taxable in India. So it is called as a resident. So means the person a citizen of India and he is resided in India for how much period? 182 days or more in during previous year. So his income earned anywhere in the world, it is to be taxable in India. Then next come to next topic, non-resident NRI. So income has to be earned in India only will be subject to income tax in India. So the income earned in India only will be subject to income tax in India. Then a resident but not residing in India. Resident but not residing in India. See, citizen of India who stayed in India for less than 182 days. Citizen of India, so who stayed on India for less than 182 days during previous year, his or her income arising outside in India may also be taxable in India. May also be taxable in India. So what is resident but not residing in India means citizen of India who stayed in India for less than 182 days. He belongs to India but he stayed in 182 less than 182 days in India during the previous year. and his or her income arising outside in India and may also be taxable in India. So this person is called as resident but not residing in India. Then next come to what are the gross total income. Okay, then next to come to gross total income. So what is gross total income means? It comprises a sum of the income. It comprises a sum of the income earned through all the 5 heads of incomes without any deductions. So gross total income means without any deductions, it comprises a sum of income earned through all the 5 heads. What are the 5 heads means? Income from salary, income from house property, income from business or profession, income from capital gains, and income from other sources. So it comprises the sum of the incomes earned through all the 5 heads of income without any deductions. So that amount is called as a gross total income. Means without any deductions the amount is called as a gross total income. Then come to next one is deductions. So what are deductions means? The amount which is allowed to be deducted. The amount which is allowed to be deducted from gross total income. So which amount has to be deducted from the gross total income? That amount is called as deductions. So once again I repeated, the amount which is allowed to be deducted from gross total income before determining tax liability of an assessee, such as certain savings, donations, etc. Okay, so what are deductions means? The amount which is allowed to be deducted from gross total income before determining tax liability of an assessee, such as certain savings and donations, etc. are called as deductions. And then come to total income. So what is total income means? So it is a gross total income minus deductions. Okay, so gross total incomes minus deduction, the remaining amount is called as a total income. So it is gross total income minus deductions. This is the net taxable income of an assessee. This amount is called as net taxable income of an assessee. So these are the important terms regarding Income Tax Act. Then come to income tax slab rates for the financial year 2021. 2021 to 22 for individuals. Income tax slab rate for financial year 2020-21 and assessment year 21-22 for individual. So see next, in this financial year we have two choices, either to opt to old tax regimes or new tax regimes. Here two choices are there for what are they? Old tax regime and new tax regime. So first we have to discuss about old tax regime. So see all of you. So as per old tax regimes, age is below 60 years. The person age is below 60 years. What are the tax rates? Let's we see. So first total income. The total income is up to 2,50,000. The total income is up to 2,50,000. The person need not to pay any tax to the government. Means the tax rate is nil. Okay. Then the total income amount up to 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs. The person income up to 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs. The tax rate is 5%. 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs. The tax rate is 5%. Then next, the person income up to 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 10 lakhs rupees. The person income up to 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 10 lakhs rupees. The tax rate is 20%. As per old tax regime. Then the person income up to above 10 lakhs rupees, the tax rate is 30% as per old tax regime. So these all tax rates are age is below 60 years age, means a citizen below 60 years age. Then come to age is above 60 years and more or less than 80 years, means he is a senior citizen. Okay, senior citizen means after retirement the age is 60 years and more but less than 80 years, but less than 80 years. So what is the tax rate? Let's we see. So total income is up to 3 lakhs rupees. The person need not to pay any tax to the government, means the tax rate is nil. Up to 3 lakhs rupees the tax rate is nil, means the person need not to pay any tax to the government. Then next come to 3 lakhs 1 rupee to 5 lakhs rupees for senior citizens. 3 lakhs 1 rupee to 5 lakhs rupees, the person has to pay 5% as a income tax to the government. Then next the income up to 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 10 lakhs rupees. For senior citizens 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 10 lakhs rupees, 20,000 20% is a tax rate. 20% is a tax rate. Then the income is above 10 lakhs rupees, 30% is a tax rate as per this financial year 2021 old regime. So this is for senior citizens. Then come to third one, age is above 80 years or more. 80 years or more means super senior citizens. So for super senior citizens total income, so the total income rupees up to 5 lakhs rupees for super senior citizens, the tax rate is nil, means the person need not to pay any tax to the government. So the age is above 80 years for super means super senior citizens, the income is above 5 lakhs rupees, the person need not to pay any tax to the government. Then up to 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 10 lakhs rupees, the income is 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 10 lakhs. So 20% is a tax rate. Then next 10 lakhs, above 10 lakhs 30% is a tax rate. Above 10 lakhs 30% is a tax rate. Then come to new tax regime. New tax regime for all ages. For all ages means 60 years and above 60 years. Then next 80 years and above 80 years and 60 years or below 60 years for all age groups of persons. This is a new tax regime. So what is that? Let's we see. Up to the total income is up to 2,50,000. There is no need to pay tax to the government, means the tax rate is a nil. Then 2,50,000 1 rupee to 5 lakhs rupees. So the tax rate is 5 lakhs rupees. Then 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 7 lakhs 50,000 rupees. The income is 5 lakhs 1 rupee to 7 lakhs 50,000 rupees. 10% is a tax rate. Then the income is 7 lakhs 50,000 1 rupee to 10 lakhs rupees. The income tax rate is 15%. Then next the income is 10 lakhs 1 rupee to 12 lakhs 50,000 rupees. The income is 10 lakhs 1 rupee to 12 lakhs 50,000 rupees. 20% is a tax rate. Okay. Then next the income is 12 lakhs 50,000 1 rupee to 15 lakhs. The income is 12 lakhs 50,000 1 rupee to 15 lakhs. 25% is a tax rate. Then next the income is above 15 lakhs rupees. The income is above 15 lakhs rupees. 30% is a tax rate. 30% is a tax rate. This is for all ages and this is a new tax regime. Let's come to next topic. Changing of exemptions and deductions, allowed or not allowed. So whether the deductions are allowed or not allowed, what are the transactions? Let's we see. Changing of exemptions or deductions. Changing or exemptions or deductions, allowed or not allowed. Let's we see. Standard deduction of 50,000 rupees for salaried and pensioner. So standard deduction of 50,000 for salaried and pensioner, old as per old tax regime, allowed. Okay, it is allowed as a deduction. And then next for new tax regime, it is not allowed as a deduction and exemptions. Okay, then next deduction for professional tax paid. Second one is deduction for professional tax paid is allowed. Then as per new tax regime, it is not allowed as a deduction. Then next house rent allowance exemption. So this exemption as per old tax regime, it should be exempted as allowed. Then next as per new deduction, new tax regime, not allowed. Then leave travel concession. Leave travel concession. So as per old tax regime, it should be allowed. As per old tax regime, it should be allowed, and new tax regime, it should not be allowed. Then next deduction of interest on self-occupied house property up to 2 lakhs rupees. Deduction of interest on self-occupied house property up to 2 lakhs rupees. It should be allowed as a deduction up to old tax regime, and as per new tax regime, it should not be allowed. Then next deduction for family pension. Deduction for family pension up to 15,000 rupees. Deduction for family pension up to 15,000 rupees. It should be allowed as per old tax regime, and new tax regime not allowed. Then come to deductions under section 80C to 80U. Deductions under section 80C to 80U. So these deductions are let's be discussed elaborately in upcoming slide. So in this slide we discuss it brief. So what are the deductions? Let's we see. So deductions under section 80C to 80U. What are the deductions? Means provident fund, LIC premium, PPF, tuition fees, and GIS, tax saver, mutual fund, and housing loan, principal repayment, medical insurance, and donation interest on education loan. Next physically handicapped deductions, etc. So these are the deductions comes under 80C to 80U. So once again I repeat, what are the deductions comes under 80C to 80U means, first one is provident fund, LIC premium, PPF, tuition fees, and GIS, tax saver, mutual funds. Next housing loan, principal repayment, medical insurance, donation, interest on education loan. Next physically handicapped deductions, etc. Then come to deductions comes under 80 TTA, section 80 TTA, interest on saving loan accounts. Interest on saving loan accounts up to 10,000 rupees. Up to 10,000 rupees. Then deductions 80 TTB comes under 80 TTB, interest on savings, FDR, others for senior citizens up to rupees 50,000 rupees. Up to 50,000 rupees. So 80 TTA up to 10,000 rupees, and then next 80 TTB up to 50,000 rupees. So one note is there. So what is the note? Let's see. So health and education says 4% of income is leavable on both old and new tax regimes. As per new and old tax regimes, the health and education cess is to be 4%. Then next come to rebate under section 87A. of 12,500. So rebate under section 87A of rupees 12,500 of or 100% of income tax, or 100% of income tax act, whichever is less, resident individuals having total income up to 5 lakhs rupees. So according to this rebate under section 87A, so how much rupees? 12,500 rupees or 100% of income tax, means whichever is less, whether 12,500 or 100% total income tax, whichever is less for resident individual having total income up to 5 lakhs rupees. Okay, then means no tax if a resident individual has total income after deducting and exemptions up to 5 lakhs rupees. Okay girls, I hope you understood. Then let's move to another slide. What are the exemptions and deductions? What is meant by exemptions and deductions? So in previous slide, what are exemptions and what are deductions we have discussed. In this slide, what are exemptions and what are deductions, let's we see. So under that, first one is exemptions. Exemptions means it is the part of income. Exemptions means it is the part of income which is not taxable, It is required to be deducted before computing gross total income. So it is required to be deducted. What are required to be deducted? Exemptions. So exemptions is also part of the income which is not taxable, and it is required to be deducted before computing gross total income. Example, CFA 2,600 per month and MFA 1,000 per month, so on. And in any case, exemptions cannot be more than gross total income. So in any case, the exemptions cannot be more than the gross total income. Then come to deductions. So what are deductions? Let's we see. So exemptions means exemptions is also one of the part of the income, and which is not taxable, and it is required to be deducted before computing the gross total income. Then come to deductions. What are deductions? Means amount of expenditure. Deductions means amount of expenditure incurred by individual towards some specific investments. Amount of expenditure incurred by individual. So deductions are amount of expenditure and it is to be incurred by individuals then towards a specific investment. Donations means donations, insurance, etc. These amounts are deducted from gross total income. Before computing tax liability. List of some deductions are appended at next page. List of deductions are comes under next page. What are deductions? Let's we see. Next, what are important exemptions and important deductions. So first we have to discuss important exemptions. So what are important exemptions? See Nana, high attitude allowance. So first one is a high attitude allowance for rupees 1,600 per month. Name of the allowance, then amount of exemption, then name of allowances, then amount of exemption. Let's we see. So first one is a high attitude allowance. So what is high attitude allowance? Means rupees first amount of exemption is 1,600 per month. How much? 1,600 per month. Then name of allowance is Sachin allowance. What is that? Sachin allowance. And amount of exemption is 7,000 per month. Amount of exemption is 7,000 per month. Then come to next one, special category, special compensatory allowance. Next one is a special compensatory allowance. So what is special compensatory allowance means? Amount of exemption is 1300 per month. 1300 per month. Then next name of allowance is CEA. Name of allowance is CEA. Special compensatory allowance, amount of exemption is 1200 per month and the name of allowance is CEA. And then next rupees, amount of exemption is 100 per month per child 100 per 100 rupees and per month also 100 rupees. Then next hostel subsidy. Third one is a hostel subsidy. So amount of exemption is rupees 300 per month. Amount of exemption is 300 per month. Name of allowance is CFA and amount of exemption is 2,600 per month. Amount of exemption is 2,600 per month. Then next one is MFA. MFA amount of exemption is 100 per month and CI allowance is how much? 3,900 per month. 3,900 per month. Then next HAFA. See beta, 4,200. Amount of exemption is 4,200. Then next Iceland. Then next Iceland special duty. This allowance is called as Iceland special duty allowance, rupees 3,250 per month. Rupees 3,250 per month. Then next one is mandatory allowance for gallantry awards. Mandatory allowance for gallantry awards were fully exempted. Then house rent allowances. Next last one is house rent allowances up to certain amount based on specific conditions exempted separately. Okay, explained separately. This house rent allowance is a special topic, so it explains separately. So this house rent allowance up to certain amount based on specific conditions, it is explained separately. Then next to amount of exemptions on HRA. HRA means house rent allowances. Let's we see. So minimum of the following A, B and C will be the amount of exemptions of the house rent allowances. See, minimum of the following. So what are these means? First one is amount of HRA. How much house rent allowance is there, HRA? And then second one, rent paid minus 10% of basic pay. Rent paid minus 10% of basic pay. Then last one is 50% of basic pay, or if residing in metro, or 40% of basic pay if residing in city. In case of the person has to live in metro, 50% of basic pay, or in case of the person is received in city, 40% of basic pay has to be paid as a HRA. So first actual amount of HRA, or then second one is rent paid minus 10% of basic pay, or 50% of basic pay if the person has to be lived in metro city, or if the person has to be lived in a city, the 40% has to be paid as house rent allowances. Then come to next one is what is that? Important deductions. What are the deductions have to be made? So exemptions are completed. Let's come to deductions. What are the deductions means? In brief, we are discussed in previous slide. So we discussed elaborately in this slide. So section of Income Tax Act 1961. Then details of deductions, and the third one is minimum amount, how much amount has to be deducted, deductions have to be made as the deductions. So first one, section 80C. Section 80C, here first details of deductions are PF subscription. First one is a PF subscription, next GIC subscription, GIS, then next LIC premium, refund of house building loan, principal amount, then refund of education loan, this is also principal amount, then payment of tuition fee, payment of tuition fee for a higher education, then term deposit for not less than 5 years in a scheduled bank, post office 5 years term deposits contribution to certain pensioners funds. So under section comes under section 80C. What are the deductions means? First one is PF subscription, GIS subscription, LIC premium, refund of house building loan, principal amount, then refund of education loan, this is also principal amount, payment of tuition fee for higher education, then the term deposit not less than 5 years in a scheduled bank, next post office 5 years term deposit contribution to certain pension funds. So minimum amount is 1,50,000 rupees. How much maximum amount? 1,50,000 rupees. And then come to section 80CCC. Then next section 80CCC, according to Income Tax Act, contribution under new pension scheme. Contribution under new pension scheme 50,000 rupees. Maximum how much amount has to be made as a deduction? 50,000 rupees. Then next come to section 80D. Section 80D, CGH and ECHS contribution expenses on a preventive health checkup, medical insurance premium. So up to medical insurance premium 80D to 25,000 rupees given as a deductions, and rupees 50,000 for senior citizens. For citizens 25,000 rupees, and for senior citizens 50,000 rupees. Then next come to next deduction, section 80DD. So what is the deduction means? Maintenance and medical treatment of a person when disability. The person has any disability, mentally or physical disability. So he is giving 75,000 rupees. 75,000 rupees up to 80% disability. So the person has 80% disability, so the deductions has to be given 75,000, and 1,20,000 rupees, 1,25,000 rupees in case of severe disability. In case of any severe disability of a person, 1,25,000 rupees are given as a deductions. And next come to 80DDB. Section 80DDB. So what is that means? Treatment for specific disease. Treatment for specific disease. So that is cancer, AIDS, chronic and renal failure of hemophilia and thalassemia, dementia, etc. So treatment for specific diseases. How much amount has to be given as deductions means 40,000 rupees and 10,000 rupees in case of 40,000 rupees and 1 lakh rupees in case of any senior citizen. For citizens 40,000 rupees, in case of senior citizen 1 lakh rupees is given as a deductions. Then next section 80E. According to section 80E, payment of interest on education loan. According to section 80E, payment of interest on education loan. So full amount of interest till refund of loan for years whichever is earlier. Here once again I repeat it. So according to section 80E, 80E for education loan, payment of interest on education loan. So full amount of interest till it is to be refunded of loan for years whichever is earlier. And then next section 80EE, section 80EE. So payment of interest on household loan, payment of interest on household loan availed during 1st April 2016 to 31st March 2017. Loan amount up to 35 lakhs. According to section 80E, deductions payment of interest on housing loan availed during 1st April to 31st March, loan amount up to 35 lakhs, maximum amount is rupees 50,000 rupees. So how much amount has to be given as deductions? 50,000 rupees. Then next come to next deduction 24. So according to section 24, payment of interest on housing whole loan availed on or after 1999. Payment of interest on housing loan availed on or after 1/4/1999. So the maximum amount is 2 lakhs rupees. How much deduction has to be given? 2 lakhs rupees. Then section 80EEA, 80EEA, interest on housing loan availed during financial year 2019 to 20 onwards, providing the stamp duty value of the house does not exceed rupees 45 lakhs. It does not exceed rupees 45 lakhs. Then rupees 1,50,000 income tax, it is not in addition to rupees 2 lakhs under section 24 and 50,000 under section 80EEE. Under section 24, 2 lakhs rupees and sorry, it is not in addition rupees 2 lakhs to 2 lakhs rupees under section 24 and 50,000 rupees under section 80EEE. Then next section 80EEB, section 80EEB. Then interest on loan availed to purchase any electronic vehicle during financial year 2019 to 20 onwards. Okay, interest on loan availed to purchase any electronic vehicle during financial year 2019 to 20 onwards, that is rupees 1,50,000 rupees. Then 80G, section 80G, donated certain funds, charitable institutions, example AIAF, CWF, PMNRF, ITTs, etc. So 50% or 100% of total amount as noted by government, cash donation up to 2,000 only. 50% or 100% of total amount as notified by the government. Okay, then cash donation up to 2,000 only. 2,000 rupees has to be deducted. Then come to next topic, section 80GG, section 80GG. So not drawing HRA and residing in a rented house, not drawing HRA and residing in a rented house, what is the deduction? Means total rent paid minus 10% of total income, 25% of total income or 5,000 per month is to be given as a deductions. Then section 80GGE, section 80GGA, certain donations for scientific research or rural development, certain donations for scientific research or rural development. So 100% of sum donated, So cash donation up to 10,000 rupees only. Cash donation up to 10,000 rupees only. Then next section 80 GGC. Section 80 GGC, contribution to political parties. Contribution to political parties, 100% of contribution. Cash contributions 2,000 only. Cash contributions 2,000 only given as a deductions. Then section 80 TTA. Section 80 TTA, interest on saving bank account for individuals below 60 years of old. Interest on saving bank account for individuals. So for individuals age is below 60 years of age, 10,000 rupees given as a deductions. Next 80 TTB. Section 80 TTB, interest on saving bank account for senior citizens. Interest on saving bank accounts for senior citizens, 50,000 rupees. 50,000 rupees given as a deductions. Then next last one is 80U. Section 80U, person with disability. So disability above 40% to 80%, 40%, greater than 40% to less than 80% is 75,000 given as a deduction. Then next the disability is above 80% or more, above 80% or more, to 1,25,000 rupees given as a deductions. How much? 1,25,000 rupees given as a deductions. So this is regarding exemptions and deductions. Then some useful tips are there. So what are the useful tips regarding this income tax? First one is a PAN. PAN means it is a 10-digit alphanumeric number. 10-digit alphanumeric number such as ADGPY. ADGPY 1234A, allotted by the income tax department. Who is allotted this PAN number? Income tax department. The fourth alphabet. In this fourth alphabet of PAN represents the category of PAN holder. The category of PAN holder. So whether the PAN holder is a person, it is it is indicated with P. Whether the PAN holder is company, it is indicated with C, or whether the PAN holder is a firm, it is indicated with F. The fourth digit of the PAN card, it indicates the individual persons. It indicates the category of the PAN holders. It indicates the category of the PAN holders. Whether the it should be, it indicates with B, P, it is a person. It indicates with C, it is a company, and it indicates with F, it is a firm. It represent and etc. And we all having PAN with fourth letter P. Similarly, the fifth letter represents the first letter of the surname or last name of the PAN holder. First letter of the surname or last name of the PAN holder. Then come to next one. It is the responsibility of every individual to provide a valid PAN to his or her employee. Sir, employer, falling which a penalty of 10,000 rupees may be charged and higher rate of tax will be deducted. And under section 272B of Income Tax Act 1961, in case of Air Force personal employer, in case of Air Force and personal employer. And then next, PAN allotted to a person will be deemed invalid if he or she fails to intimate Aadhaar details to Income Tax Department. If PAN are allotted to a person will be deemed invalid if he or she fails to intimate Aadhaar details to Income Tax Department. Then next, if PAN has not been allotted, income tax returns can be filled using Aadhaar number. PAN card is not there, if PAN has been not allotted, ITR income tax returns can be filled using Aadhaar number. As per section 139 subsection 10 if of Income Tax Act 1961, every individuals having total income exceeding rupees 2 lakhs 2.5 lakhs rupees during 2019 to 20 is required to fill income tax returns by 31st July 2020. Okay, then in case of failure to file income tax returns purpose in case of failure of to file ITR may be initiated under section 276 CC of Income Tax Act, provided the tax payable by assessee is rupees 10,000 or more. Then next one is the income tax returns can be filled after due date, also paying mandatory fine as tabulated below. So what are those? Let's we see. Period of filling income tax returns, late fee. So 1st April to 31st July there is no late fee, nil, and 1st August to 31st December 5,000 rupees is a late fee. Then 1st January to 31st March next year 10,000 rupees as a late fee. However, if the total income of a person does not exceed 5 lakhs, the minimum late fee will be rupees 1,000 rupees. At the time of filling income tax ITR after due date, if any tax is payable, then penal interest at the rate of 1% of tax per month will be levied from due date till of filling. Then next, in case of income tax from the salary and the tax is assessed by the employer and tax is deducted from monthly salary, which is called TDS. TDS means tax deducted at source. Then next point, if any individual is having income other than from salary, or the tax on such income to be assessed by the individual himself, which is called self-assessment. Then next one is, in such cases, if the total tax payable is more than 10,000 rupees, the individual is required to pay advance tax as per the following schedule. So what is the schedule? Let's see. Due date for payment of advance tax, okay, on or before 15th June of previous year, up to 15% is tax payable. Then next, on or before 15th September of previous year, up to 45% of tax is payable. Then on or before 15th December of previous year, up to 75% of tax payable. Then next, on or before 15th March of previous year, up to 100% is a tax payable. So this is a due date for tax payment of advance tax. Then last come to conclusion. What is the conclusion for this income tax means? In the subject presentation, various aspects of individual taxation well explained, which may be helpful in dealing with personal tax planning as explained in the presentation. There are a number of tax savings deductions available which can be utilized to minimize the tax burden. Individual should aware about the responsibility towards tax deductions, deposit or filling of income tax returns, etc., as case may be. So we are all should be careful about the last date for filling of income tax returns of, that is 31st July every year, and also the due date for depositing of income tax advance tax if any. Thank you.